Canon's new R system high megapixel camera is going to shoot north of 100 megapixels and be aimed at landscape and studio photographers. Apple's about to release 2 M-powered iMacs, and Sigma's got an event planned for tomorrow. This and more after the intro. Hi, I'm Simon. Thanks for tuning into The Ordinary Filmmaker. Subscribe to get notification of new videos like this one so you don't miss any news, rumors, gear reviews, or tutorials. And a big thanks to Atomos for sponsoring The Ordinary Filmmaker. I'm using the Ninja 5 external recorder for all my studio work as it saves me a ton of time in post. So if you want to speed up your own editing, well then use my links down below to purchase your own Ninja. And now for the news. The R5S, or Canon's follow-up to the 5DSR high megapixel camera, is rumored to have between 80 and 90 megapixels. But Canon Rumors now says that that may not be the case. Most of us have reported a Canon camera with an 80 megapixel image sensor, but by the sounds of it, Canon will take the resolution much higher. Much higher? Much higher would put the Canon R5S into the territory of medium format cameras like the Fuji GFX 100. And that's exactly what Craig's sources tell us. This camera will shoot north of 100 megapixels. This would mean a new sensor, right? A solid source has told me that Canon hasn't yet decided on which image sensor will come with the new high megapixel RF mount camera. And the camera? It won't be using the same Canon R5 body, so perhaps the R5S moniker won't stand either. The new high megapixel R system camera, formerly known as the R5S, is geared towards landscape and studio photographers. Don't expect this to be a video powerhouse, and I don't even know if it's going to have 8K or even what the video specs are, let alone the photo specs. Now, this camera will be the closest to a stills-only camera that Canon's ever going to make. What do you think? How many megapixels will this camera have? What video capabilities will it have? And what will it be called? Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Sigma's having a virtual presentation on March the 25th at 2100 hours, or 9 p.m. Rumors indicate Sigma will be announcing or releasing a new camera and some lenses. We're just 24 hours away from knowing. Personally, like you probably, I'd really like to have some announcement on some R system glass, but we'll just have to wait and see. With Apple discontinuing the iMac Pro and winding down iMac options, it's clear that Apple's getting ready to release M processor powered Macs. 9to5Mac spotted hardware identifiers for an iMac 21,1 and iMac 21,2. Now neither of these models match current configurations, which makes a lot of sense as Apple's clearly stated that they're moving their entire line over to the M architecture. Now, previous reports pointed to a redesigned chassis that borrows features from Apple's Angular iPhone and iPad devices. New color options are also rumored. Apple's expected to announce new iMacs sometime in April. Now, no mention yet of the 2021 MacBook Pro that I'm so keenly interested in. But speaking of performance, well, we just received a 13-inch M1 MacBook Air. Let's go behind the scenes to find out a little bit more. Is it really as fast and as powerful as they say? Last Monday, I ordered this MacBook Air from Apple online. It's the 13-inch edition. It doesn't have a fan. Only the MacBook Pro has a fan, and it's got 8 gigabytes of RAM. But I did bump it up to 512 gigabytes. And I know what you're thinking. Simon, that doesn't sound like a beast for video editing. Why didn't you go with 16 gigs? Well, because I didn't buy this for video editing. I bought this as a family computer. You see, we've been using a 2014 11-inch MacBook Air for the longest time, and for my son, that was fine. But there's a lot more work that he's doing now with Google Classrooms and some other sources, and the screen just isn't big enough. So I got this for him, but also as a family computer, I can do some stuff on it, and that's one of the reasons I bumped it up to 512 gigs. So all in all, this configuration cost me $1,575 Canadian, which is probably around $1,200 US. But you knew what I had to do. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. So as soon as I got it, I unpacked it, and the very first thing I did is I set up my account, I set up administrative stuff, I made sure the trackpad was set up properly. And what I like to do in accessories, I like to set it up under the mouse and trackpad, under advanced options for trackpad, so I can move windows with 3 fingers, and I find that really helps. It's a much more intuitive way. So once I got all that set up, I set it up for my son. And then I let him do his homework, and he really loved it. Although it took him a while to get the concept of the Touch ID, getting him to press on the button. Well, to him it was a button instead of just resting and holding it, and that took a few minutes to get set up. But once he had gone to bed, I decided to try something. I took a video that I've been working on this year. It's basically a montage of everything from December all the way up to now. And believe it or not, it's about 46 minutes, 44 minutes long. On my iMac Pro, to export that, it took about 52 minutes. That's 52 minutes to export it in H.265. I didn't even try to do that on my MacBook Pro, the 2015. It probably would have taken 23, 24, 25 hours. And yes, I tested it several years ago, so I know that's the case. So then I hooked up my SSD to this thing here, and thankfully it did have a USB-C adapter, so it was easy to connect up. Yeah, I'm completely stunned. Guess how long it took to actually export that same video? Right, I'm going to tell you. So it took 52 minutes on the iMac Pro. Now this computer costs, I think it's $5,000 US or $6,200 Canadian plus tax. That brings it up to about $7,200 Canadian. Now again, I paid $1,575 Canadian for this, or about $1,200. It exported in 28 minutes. 28 minutes, that's a huge margin. I really didn't expect this. Yes, I've been talking about how the M processors are fast. There's a ton of videos out there from people showing you how fast these are. So I didn't see any value in doing a full unboxing of this computer. It's been done to death, but very few people have actually compared it to computers like the iMac Pro. And we know that the iMac Pro was discontinued just a few weeks ago. The fact that this, a computer that costs a fourth the price of an iMac Pro, is able to export at a significantly faster rate was completely astonishing to me. Because when I first opened it up, sure, it seemed quick, but it didn't seem lightning fast, not compared to the iMac Pro. But I want to caution you. If you're going to do video editing, I'd really wait to see what Apple does with the MacBook Pro, because you can get this and it can work pretty fast. And I'm going to edit this video on this computer just to see how well it does. But based on last night, I expect it's going to be pretty quick. But here's the thing. When it comes to editing video, especially if you're going to do 4K or north of 4K, you really do need 32 gigabytes of RAM. And if you don't, well, the Mac's going to say, no problem. I'm going to access that ultra-fast SSD, and it's going to wear down that SSD a little quicker. Now, is it going to wear it out within a year or two? No, most likely not, but these are new. I don't really know where we might start to have problems. Could we have problems on year 4, 5, 6, or would it take to year 10? I've seen plenty of videos online that indicate that, you know, even if you do write to it an awful lot of times and edit video, it could still last 10 years. But still, at $1,500, I don't want to take that chance. So if you're thinking of editing video and you're only doing it occasionally, then yes, go ahead and get the 16 gigabyte version though. That'll give you more RAM for editing video. But I'm just using a MacBook Air. And here's some other tidbits I found out too. After doing that export, I touched underneath because I didn't feel any heat coming off it, and it was a little bit warm, but it's not as warm as my previous my MacBook Pros. It was just, lukewarm at best. And doing regular work, like I was taking about, well, I wouldn't say this is regular work, but taking 50 gigabytes of files and moving them into the cloud so I have another source of redundancy. It took a few hours to do that, and I was doing some other work at the same time, and the computer was actually cold to the touch. You know when you pick up a metal object like a spoon, especially if the temperature is only about 60 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 Celsius, and how that metal feels cold to the touch? That's exactly how the MacBook Air felt. So if you're going to be doing editing in video and it's 1080p, go ahead and get 16 gigabytes. If you're going to do 4K and you're doing it occasionally, yes, this will probably work out for you, but it's just truly amazing how fast this is. And as a general purpose computer, it's pretty amazing. I think if you're not going to do video at all, the 8 gigabyte version is going to be more than enough. For years, I ran 4 gigabyte MacBook Airs, and it really wasn't a problem. The only time it started to become a problem was when I was doing any sort of video work. But yeah, that's pretty staggering. I'm pretty stunned by this. So yeah, I know I don't have any agreement with Apple. Apple did not send this to me. I don't know. I think unless you're producing Hollywood movies, epic Hollywood movies, Apple doesn't send you kit. So I paid for this with our own money, not out of the channel budget, but of the family budget, because it really is a computer for family use. And my son keeps calling it his computer, and I let him know, no son, no Liam, this is not your computer, it's a family computer. more on that later, but that's it for now. It's my lunch break, so I got to quickly edit this and get it out the door. Thank you so much for watching The Ordinary Filmmaker. Don't forget to subscribe for your chance to win 2 Angelbird 128GB AV Pro MK2 V90 SD cards, along with an Angelbird UHS-2 dual SD card reader. Or you could also win a Ulanzi LED light package with accent lights, an underwater light, and various other flat panel lights to light your subject, or as a starter kit for starting your own YouTube channel, or for somebody else in your life that you know that is starting their own YouTube channel. I'll be awarding these 2 prize bundles once the channel reaches 30,000 subscribers. And then I'll be offering up other prize bundles all the way up to 100,000, at which point I'll be offering up a brand new Canon EOS R5 full-frame mirrorless camera to one lucky viewer. And on that bombshell, thanks so much for watching The Ordinary Filmmaker. We'll see you again soon.